And that sound means it's time for us to go to work. Welcome to the Give Us the Dirt podcast, powered by Hoopod Grading Company. My name is Brandon Lindsay, and I am your host today. So if you're going to dig dirt for a living, you've got to have the right tools. Since 1926, Carolinacat has provided the equipment for the jobs the construction industry needs to move heaven and earth, but mostly earth. 95 years, if my math is right. That's a lot of history right here in our area, and they're still growing. Mike Tropsha has worked with Caterpillar Equipment since graduating from NC State, starting as an industry rep, then becoming a regional sales manager for rentals in Florida while also getting his MBA. 10 years ago, Mike came home to the Carolinas, where he's currently the vice president and general manager for Carolinacat's construction division, and he is sitting with us today in the podcast studio. Welcome, Mike. It is an honor to have you with us today.
Thank you, Brandon. It's an honor to be here as well. And when Caroline reached out and gave me an opportunity to come, I was super excited. I had a chance to watch Brian's kind of inaugural podcast, and having a little bit of prior exposure to what a podcast is, I was blown away. So it's an honor to be here. I just appreciate the opportunity and look forward to the conversation.
Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for listening too, Brian. He set the bar high, but you're gonna crush it today, Mike. So, so if you've listened, then you know how we start these things, and we start by, instead of asking you to introduce yourself, how would your wife introduce you to a group of people that don't know who you are? What would she say about you?
She'd probably say, you know how my husband says I'm the better half? He's right about that. That's how that would start.
She would confirm it.
She would confirm it, first and foremost.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you so much for being with us. We're going to start. I want to do this a little bit different. I want to start we want to talk about the company first, and then we're going to come back, and I want to hear your story, because you've got a really unique and great story. So let's start with the company.
Sure.
So you've got three companies. You've got Carolinacat, you've got Carolina Tractor and Equipment, and then you've got Caterpillar. How does all this fit together? How does it work?
No, I'm glad you asked. So CTE, our enterprise serves several key industries. Our main ones are material handling. So this is all about supporting manufacturing, distribution, warehousing. That's one industry. The other industry that we serve is the energy industry, and that's power generation. It's standby power. And then the third industry that we serve is the construction industry, the industry that really we're most familiar with. So to serve those industries best, CTE is organized into several go-to-market businesses, go-to-market operating divisions. One of those divisions is our Lift One business. Lift One is the material handling supplier into this manufacturing and distribution industry. And for that business, we're a Hyster and Gale distributor. So supporting our other two industries, our power generation, our construction industries, we're organized into Carolinacat, and that's our go-to-market brand that really is all about construction and power generation. And those two businesses are our power systems division and our construction division. Construction is the business that I have the fortune of leading, and it's really the business that you're most familiar with, and the business that works the closest with Hoopod Grading and our customer base within the construction industry. And for both of our Carolinacat businesses, Caterpillar is our primary brand, and of course we have what we call allied brands that are also adjacent products that support this industry.
Got it. And so Carolinacat is the distributor for Caterpillar, which is a global organization. And there are how many distributors?
Exactly. So Caterpillar globally has over 150 distributors. So over 150 Carolinacat type of businesses that serve customers across the world. And in North America, there are about 40 of them. And we serve North Carolina, the western half of the state. So from Greensboro all the way up to Asheville, and kind of this western North Carolina footprint for our Caterpillar business.
That makes so much more sense. Thank you for explaining that, because I've known the companies, but I didn't know how it all fit together. And so thank you for walking us through that.
You bet.
And I want to talk about the size of that, because we all know Caterpillar. We all know everyone's familiar with the equipment. It is a global organization, but you guys, one thing that you always hear about your company and the Caterpillar network is service, and how well of a job you guys do with servicing your client and making each client feel special. Regardless of the size and scope of this organization, how do you manage to do that with such a huge organization?
Yeah, and you're right. Caterpillar is a global brand and it's a global manufacturer. And being the largest product manufacturer in the world simply just gives Caterpillar the resources, the ability to continue to invest in research and development and just making the best product. But then there's the customer, right? And then how do we get close to our customers? How do we best support our customers? And as you mentioned, Caterpillar distributes through over 150 dealers like ours worldwide. In North America, there are over 40. And we, of course, represent the Caterpillar brand and some other allied brands within the Western North Carolina market. So the way we think about it is it's really our job to be the local dealer, to really understand our customers, to really form partnerships and relationships with our customers. And while Caterpillar has been making products for a long time, Carolinacat has had relationships with customers in the local community, some spanning the multiple generations that our company's been around for. So it's really our ability to understand our customers, form relationships, and be a trusted partner that we're all about having the scale and the infrastructure that a global OEM brings to us. And as we think about the dealer network, there are a lot of other dealers like ours, and really it's how we work with those dealers and the standards that we commit to that make us who we are and our network what it is.
So is that the secret sauce, Mike? Is it the relationships? I mean, you guys, 95 years you're celebrating this year, which congratulations, by the way. That's amazing. So what is that secret sauce to the longevity and the sustainability of an organization like that?
Yeah, I think the relationships are a big part of it. I think our people are another big part of it. And as we think about how we go to market and how we support our customers, we have two primary avenues for supporting customers. One is our assets. It's the investments that we make in our equipment, in our facilities, and our infrastructure. And the other is our people. Our people ultimately deliver the value to our customers. And part of that is the secret sauce. And I'm sure we'll get into a little bit about some of the work that we have been doing and we are going to continue to do to stay relevant and continue to be a trusted partner to our customers. But ultimately, the secret sauce is our relationships. But what stands behind those relationships is our people and the manufacturers that we represent and the investments and choices we make and how to do that best.
Well, and that's clear with you guys do a great job of investing back into your people. But that was a great segue to the next question. Tell us a little bit about how are you going to stay relevant? How do you continue for 95 years staying relevant, staying on top in the construction industry?
Yeah. No, it's a great question. So we recently updated what we call our core ideology, which is our vision, our purpose, and our values. And I could talk about this for hours here, but I know our time is limited. So as we think about our vision, this is where we're going, and we redefined our vision to be pretty simple and pretty succinct. And our vision is to be a trailblazing company that's built to last. So as we think about what does trailblazing mean, if you think about the literal translation of it, it's to go where trails have not been blazed, right? It's to go where we may need to take some chances and screw some stuff up, but it's all about how to be innovative and how to help ourselves and our customers and our industry remain relevant. And that's what we're excited about. And that's one of the reasons that we think we will continue to provide innovative stuff into the industry and to our customers to stay relevant. And then there's the built to last piece, right? And that's the piece that really speaks to our history and our past and how we think that's going to help us get to the future. And built to last is all about making sure that we're building for sustainment. Ed, our owner, has a term that I think is really, really meaningful, and that's stewardship. And stewardship means leaving something better than you found it. And as we think about built to last and a lot of the work that we do and developing our own capabilities and supporting our customers, this built to last concept is one of the ways that we ensure that the trails we blaze are backed up by substance and staying power, and that's one of the ways that we also want to continue to remain relevant.
What a great vision statement. That is, were you part of coming up with that?
It was a team effort led by Ed, our CEO, our president, and I think it's a very I think one of the things we tried to do is keep things simple, and which I know is a HUPA grading core value, and to make sure that we used words that have a lot of meaning to everybody and that we can talk about without having to become too elaborate in our definitions.
I think you did a great job, and I think you hit the nail on the head there, because the vision statement speaks to your ability to take risk, to push the envelope, to go after innovation in our space, but also be thinking about the big picture and the sustainability of the business and the relationship. So I think you capture both of that. That's really cool how you did that. Speak about the innovation, and specifically in regards to the technology, because as you know, and Carolinacat knows, technology is the love language of this next generation of construction workers. How have you guys been able to incorporate that technology to elevate your products above your competitors?
Yeah, so if you think about technology, it's many things, right? Technology is data, it's information. Technology is how you do business through new digital channels. So if you think about buying something on Amazon instead of buying something from the store, that's technology. Technology is knowing where your machine is, and it's a connected asset, whether it's a car with OnStar or a piece of construction equipment that you can identify on a job site. And those are all the things that I think not just our industry, but other industries are all racing towards, digital, e-commerce, connectivity, the Internet of Things. All of those things are not specific to construction. But as we think about construction, we think about technology, there's a few areas that we're really, really focused on, and Caterpillar is as well. So the first is product health. So if we think about health as uptime, as we think about health as the ability to predict future uptime. So is this machine going to break down when I least expect it? And is it going to cause downtime? So that's a big focus of technology. So not just connecting the equipment, but really understanding what the information that comes off the equipment is telling us about current health and about future health. So then the other one is, I know that HUPA grading and the industry is built around is also productivity, right? For companies such as HUPA grading to be able to complete projects on time and on budget. So what does productivity mean? And that's another big focus area for us. Productivity is asset productivity. Is my machine productive? Is it moving a lot of dirt? Then labor force productivity, right? HUPA grading has hundreds of employees, and as do other contractors. How can we help, and how can technology help enable our labor force, our employees, to be more productive? And then ultimately, productivity is the combination of the information that we can take off of the machines to support the entire job site. Because a lot of things have to happen before you guys move a yard of dirt or dig a hole. There's a lot of pre-construction, there's a lot of estimating, a lot of design work. So how can we use information and data and technology to support the entire job site and not just what the machine does once it gets there?
It's incredible. And you're exactly right. That information is key. It's not only is it predictive and being able to identify a problem before it becomes a problem, but it's also key to being able to bid the jobs, to be able to right size the jobs, have the right equipment out there, the right people out there. So what has been the biggest challenge with the technology and implementing that technology, and how far does this go? I mean, are these machines going to be running themselves?
I do think so. I think we're starting to see, some industries are usually leading where the investments that are required can be paid back sooner, given how much this stuff is really costing right now. So if you look at some of the really big mining companies across the world, they've been able to make that transition to autonomy, and you literally see like a mine site with huge rigid frame trucks running autonomously. And it's really amazing to see. And I think slowly, that's the transition that we're going to have within our industry. But, your question about, so how do we do all that, right? How do we get ready for it? I think there are a few capabilities and adaptability is one of them. And I think our industry is ripe for technology. You look around us and really construction, we're just now getting to this technology renaissance. We're just now getting to a lot of big data and automation and all these things that we really haven't had a lot of involvement in. So our job is to learn, it's to stay current, and it's to really keep things simple and translate something that's complicated into an outcome. So what does this let me do? What do I get from this? And how do I train people? How do I develop people to really take advantage of it? Because I think, it's like anything else. You open a box and you've got this fancy thing. If you don't know how to use it, it may be nice, but you don't get any value out of it. So that's really our role, is to help educate ourselves, help educate our industry, and ultimately use technology to help solve problems.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's exciting. It's a little scary, but it's great that you guys have found a way to explore the technology side of the business as a service to your clients and how they can better prepare and they can better do the jobs that they're asked to do. So you're blazing a trail. You're going out. You're being innovative. You're implementing this new technology. How do you maintain this for the next 95 years? What is the secret? How does Carolinacat how are you built to last?
Yeah, it's a great question. So as I think about how do we bring our strategy to life, there's a few different elements. So the one that I know will resonate quite well is values, right? So this is how we get to where we want to go. So our values are what we believe in. It's how we behave. It's really how we make decisions. So part of that is our core values. And that's what keeps us focused on the details, because we get the details right. That's one of them. That's how we do what we say. So when we make a commitment, how we honor that commitment, and several key other values. But the other way is, and I should probably back up and mention, in addition to our vision of trailblazing built to last, we also have a purpose. So it's why we're here, right? It's like, why do we do what we do? And our purpose is really, really simple, and it's really, I think it's really powerful, and that's to be a partner in your success. So what does that mean? So we have a lot of stakeholders. We have shareholders. We have employees, without which we don't have a company. We have customers, without which we don't have a business. And we have manufacturers, without which we don't have a product to distribute. So as we think about a partner in your success and a trusted partner in your success, it applies to our customers, it applies to our employees, and all of our stakeholders. So that's one of the ways that we think about staying relevant, is really becoming a partner and remaining a partner to all of the people and all the stakeholders and all of the relationships that we represent. So we think about the next 95 years, the next 100 years, we could probably put our heads together and design some kind of crazy vision of everything running by itself and computers making all the decisions. But ultimately, to get to that point, we have to maintain our trusted partnerships. We have to take risks together. We have to have each other's backs. And I think that's how we get there. And I think, there's some things that we will learn together. We'll learn from our customers. And near term, the biggest thing that we're focused on is really understanding more about how our customers define their own success. Because if you think about our business model, we distribute products. And we've been a pretty product focused organization, which means we know what our products do. We understand the specs, the horsepower, how big of a hole our machine can dig, or how many yards of dirt our truck can move. But ultimately, that's not why our customers make investments in equipment. It's not to dig a hole. It's to reach an outcome. It's to complete a job site on time, on budget, to keep employees safe, to keep employees productive, to retain employees. And we feel that one of the ways we want to stay relevant is to get closer to how our customers define success, really understand it better, and make sure that what we're doing is enabling outcomes and not just providing a product.
I'm so glad you circled back to that and brought that back up, because that right there is it in a nutshell. That is the secret to making it 95 years and making it another 95 years. It's the why. It's not selling a product. It's being a part of the customer's success, identifying their pains, their issues, and helping them to solve that. And that's how you create a sustainable organization. So I'm so glad you went back to that. Thank you for sharing with us a little bit about the company. I understand it a lot better, and because you've got this triangle. You've got Caterpillar, you've got Carolina Tractor and Equipment, and then you've got Carolinacat. And I understand that much better now. Now I want to talk about you and how you got here a little bit. So tell me, I want to pull this up because what we do here at the Give Us the Dirt podcast. We're pretty good at locating some pictures. So I want to pull this up and see if you recognize any of these. You recognize that guy?
Who are those people?
Yeah. I see a trend. You're a fan of horses.
Yeah.
What I love most about it is that you and this horse have the same haircut in this one right here.
It's I'm glad you said something about hair, because the one trend I see is there's less and less of it as the years progress.
That happens. I understand that one well. But these are great pictures. But man, tell me, this guy right here, this young buck right here, what did he want to do? What was the plan?
I don't think that guy had a plan back then. I think the plan was to not fall off this horse and while the picture was taken. And it's interesting. So I was born in Russia, and that picture is actually taken at a park outside of Moscow where I was born and where I lived. And I lived there for 7 years before coming this way. So that's where that picture was taken. And I don't remember what I was thinking, but I'm sure it was something about, this is a really awkward position, and I don't know why they're making me pose like that.
I love that. And so tell me about the truck at the bottom here. I recognize this from my Martin Marietta days.
Yeah.
But this is a big one.
So my first job out of college was with Caterpillar Inc. And I went to work for Cat through, it's called the marketing training class, a management training program. And part of the duty that we had as a marketing trainee was to support what's called spring training. It's a regional training, spring training. It's what Caterpillar does to help educate dealers and the dealer sales force. So my job in support of the rigid frame truck training. So these trucks, the way they start is with compressed air. So because the motor's so big, there's not a starter big enough using stored power to start these things. So there's this big compressor, this big air tank, and when the truck's running, it pressurizes this tank, and then when the truck's off, you release a bunch of air. That's what turns the motor over. So my job was to make sure when the truck idled down, to go climb back in the truck and to just touch the throttle a little bit to get it to idle back up, so the air compressor kept charging. It was a really, really big job. So that's what that picture is. I think maybe we ran out of air or something. I was trying to roll start it.
I didn't know if you were trying to keep it from moving forward here.
Yeah. Also, safety's come a long way in the 15 years or so that was taken.
Oh, the size of this stuff is impressive. I remember the first time as I was a kid, my dad took me and I got to sit in the equipment, and there's something nostalgic about sitting in this big equipment and seeing the size of it. And I mean, we're playing with these toys as little kids, and for you, this is your job now.
You
get to play with these toys all day long. So how did you make that transition, right? And so that makes a lot more sense. You were born in Russia, which I saw in your profile that you minored in Russian studies. And I was thinking, why would anyone minor in Russian studies? Well, now I understand.
It's kind of a freebie.
Yeah. That was. So how do you make the transition into the construction world?
Yeah. Do you remember growing up reading those choose your own adventure books? And it's like, if you do this, turn to page. It was kind of like that. So as I was getting ready to graduate, went to school at North Carolina State, and companies would come on campus and do on-campus recruiting events, on-campus interviews, and Caterpillar was one of those companies. The chairman at the time of Caterpillar, Jim Owens, had completed some undergraduate and graduate work at NC State, so Cat had a presence on campus, and I remember I had some business school classes in the Caterpillar classroom, so I was familiar with the brand. Obviously, the cool equipment. That's about all I knew about it, and really hadn't had any exposure into the construction world up until that point. And it was I remember my interview. It was a guy named Mike Haas who retired from Caterpillar about 5 years ago, and I just remember listening to him talk about what the products do and what Caterpillar is all about, and the global nature of the business. And I just remember being blown away by, in the world of, financial engineering and derivatives and marketing and all these things, like here's a tangible product that works all across the world, that builds the world. And I just remember being fascinated by how tangible the product was and what the product does. And I was fascinated by the magnitude of that. And I loved the guy, Mike, and I trusted him. And so we kind of came together, and I ended up in Peoria in the marketing training class.
That's incredible. So they were blazing trails back then. They were recruiting out of NC State from Russian studies minors.
Taking chances.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So, all right, NC State, if you had to pick one, Duke or Carolina?
Carolina.
Really?
I know that there's a listener or 100 that I've frustrated, but I grew up in Chapel Hill, so I have a little bit of loyalty to Carolina over Duke.
I really didn't expect you to pick one, but you did. So
Okay,
you probably did.
We'll just cut that right out of the interview.
I love that you did. I love that you did. All right, so tell me a little bit more. This is where we get into the dirt, Mike.
Yeah.
We want to hear your story. And tell me, so you've been how many years? 20 years in the construction industry?
So
right?
since 2004. So
so close to it.
math.
So
Yeah.
how talk about the people that have been the biggest influences in your career.
Yeah. So there are a few, and I know you know this. One of the incredible things about our industry is the relationships we build, the people we come across, and I think every relationship, every interaction, you can learn something, right? And if you pay attention and you listen, you can really learn from how people act, how people behave, what their beliefs are. So I've been really, really fortunate just to be in this industry and be around the incredible people that represent this industry. And I've had a few. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention. So I've been at Carolinacat for 10 years. And in today's world, it's an eternity, right? For today's generation of leaders, I'm fortunate to be able to have had the kind of career and the kind of challenges that I have. And one of the reasons that I've been here, and one of the reasons I love this company so much is our owner. And it's not just the legacy and the heritage that he represents in the family, but how he views the world, how he behaves, how he leads our company. And I consider him one of the key, most influential mentors in my life. And Ed, Ed.
For our listeners that don't know the owner, who is?
Yeah. So Ed Wisiger is our owner. Ed's our third generation dealer principal, our president, and Ed's dad, Ed Sr., is still in the business and still comes by almost every day. And I think he could tell you every machine that's being repaired in our shop right now. And it's incredible. So Ed Jr. has led our company for quite some time. And, Ed is a values-based principle man. But that's not really the thing that I think that's incredible about him. And I think what's amazing is his belief that there's a few things that I really feel for me have been most impactful. The first is that his belief that we can and we should challenge the status quo, and we can always think about a different and better answer. And one of our core values is improve always, and I think that's really, when I think about Ed, and that's one of the things I really think about him about. I think the other is is a belief that whatever we set our minds to, we can get done. And it's powerful. And you guys have done it here. Our industry has done it, but it's truly being convicted in your beliefs and having this belief that what we put our mind to as a company, we can get done. And we keep proving that to ourselves over and over and over again. And then the last part I'd mention is that Ed's belief that to be an effective leader, you have to work on yourself first. And that's been an inspiration to the leaders around him and to me. And it's really this lifelong journey of kind of self-understanding, self-awareness, and self-improvement to allow us to then be better leaders and to be a better partners, to the teams that we represent. So I think that's I was going to say that's Ed in a nutshell. There's more to it, but those are really the things that for me have been life altering and life changing in a positive way.
Well, those are three great lessons for anyone, whether you're in the construction industry or not. And I think my favorite of those that you just mentioned was challenging the status quo. Especially in our industry, you hear all the time people talking about it's just the way it's always been done.
Yeah.
And we get in this routine of just doing things over and over because it's the way it's always been done, but it doesn't have to be that way.
That's right.
And, you know, we need to challenge the status quo. We need to be innovative. We need to blaze trails and to find new ways to do it. And I think you guys have done that well. So what do you say to that young man or woman that's graduating right now with a degree in Russian studies that is considering getting into the construction industry? What do you tell them?
Yeah, so there are a few, I think, lessons I've learned along the way, and there are a few things that I would want to impart on somebody just graduating and really thinking about the choices they make for their career. The first is, this is not the dirty industry that people think that it is. You know, come join our industry, come bring your talent, come bring your ambitions to our industry. Our industry, we talked about this, our industry is high tech. Our industry is sophisticated. Our industry is really helping build the world. Come be a part of that. Don't worry about, you know, getting dirty, and you know that what you do for a living is in the dirt. The other one is, you know, we talked a little bit about innovation and change, and what I would say is the pace of change is not going to slow down. And this concept of challenging the status quo, that's the way of today, that's the way of the future, and it's only going to speed up. The rate of change is only going to increase. So I would just say that bring your desire to learn, not just while you're in your first few years, but forever, because that's really what we're committing to as leaders and being in this industry is lifelong learning and continuing to be adaptable, because the world's coming at us pretty fast and we can't just kind of sit by and let it come to us. We have to contribute to that change. So that's the other thing I'd say. And then the last one is you know, learn from those around you and pay attention. And I've made so many mistakes that I wish I could, you know, keep someone from making as I've grown. And, you know, one of the best ways to learn is by just understanding what successes and what failures people have had. So that would be the third bit of advice. And also I'd say glad you didn't go to Duke or Carolina.
Great one. Yeah. So I love that, Mike, that, you know, here you are 20 years into your career with Carolinacat, and you've been able to be successful and achieve all the goals that you've wanted to achieve because you followed the direction of someone that poured into you. You know, you had Ed Jr. that really taught you, you know, to challenge the status quo, that you can achieve whatever you set your mind to, and then to work on yourself first. So you get these three nuggets that have really molded you into the person that you are today. And then now you've got your own knowledge, you've got your own experience, and you've been able to extend that wisdom to others that are considering a career in construction too. So I love the evolution of this story. I love the fact that you're still feeding into others the way people have fed into you. So one last question. I want you to tell us, what can we expect from Carolinacat over the next 5-10 years? How are you guys going to look different? Yeah.
First, I'd say is you should expect a lot, right? Because for us to be a trusted partner, we should deliver a lot, and we really have to hold ourselves to the same standards that our customers hold us to. But what you should expect is our ability as a partner and as a servant to the industry to help bring these elements that we talked about a little bit today together. So these outcomes, productivity, product health, employee success measures into some offerings, into some solutions. So what that means is we transition from iron to outcomes for our customers. We transition from providing products to providing and enabling success and successful outcomes for our customers. So that's what you should expect from us, is to really to add more value. And the way we do that is first by truly understanding our customers deeper than we have already. And we're fortunate to have the relationships and the trusted partnerships to enable us to do that. And as you think about what skill sets we bring, as you think about what talent we have on our team, you've met a lot of our really talented folks, and it's going to be more of that. It's experts in these outcomes of productivity and product health and predictive analytics and job site expertise that truly, again, help us define our success by the way you define your success and our customers do.
So for anyone that's listening and they're wondering, how do I build an organization that can last for 95 years and beyond? I think you just got the secret formula right there. And that is, I'm gonna try to, if I mess this up, you correct me.
You'll do it better. I'll write down what you say.
Understanding your client's needs, delivering the products that create solutions, which ultimately drive value.
Yeah.
And I think that's the secret to success, and that's the secret to Carolinacat. Mike, thank you so much for
Brandon.
being with us today
it's been
and
an
sharing
honor.
your story and giving us the dirt.
Glad to be here, and thank you for the opportunity again. This is an awesome thing that you guys have built here, and just really fortunate to be part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.